Oh yeah, that felt good. Oh fucking A. Just waiting for some people to join. We'll do this for about a few hours, couple hours maybe. Talk about recovery and all that jazz. And all that jazz. Share my info. Hello. Wait for some people to join. We could talk about recovery and addiction and all that stuff. Okay. I don't know if this is the right notebook, but yeah. It's my little recommendations notebook. Hi. Just getting started here. Hi. I still don't know what true love is like. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm Rojan. I know it's a rare thing to come by. I know how I feel when I'm in love. I've been in love with someone. So, trust me, if you know what that feels like, you're not going to settle for anything less. Sometimes we make mistakes, though. Think that we're in love when we're not, especially when we're young and naive. Hi, Eric. How's it going? Hi, the fishing felon. Hi, Phenolf. Has anyone said that you are very beautiful? Thank you. Well, thank you very much. That's very, very kind of you to say. Let me share my info and we can commence. So yeah, ooh, snap. Okay, we're going live. We're going live. Okay. Hello. Hi, Joey. Thank you. Hi, Anne. Looking well and beautiful today as usual. Thank you. One Bing Nabs. Hi, Cowley. What do you mean? Hello. Hi, Eric. Going good. Been busy though. I would watch you tonight. Thank you. Well, I'm glad that it's good to have you here. Much appreciated, guys. Let's see. Let's share my info so we can, as I've mentioned, we can commence in just a sec. Okay. I just, in case anyone wants to commission me for a painting, I'm sharing my information here, or support the channel or anything like that. If not, that's okay too. Just putting it out there. Okay. Let's see, you can see a lot of my artwork on my Instagram. And I do oils and watercolors. Anna.Katrina.art. Anna.Katrina.art in my Discord. Or we could also discuss business or whatever. Or shenanigans. It's Emerald _wing _ 13473. Okay. Hope I don't miss the clip. Pinned. All right. Hello. Ooh, I love Courage the Cowardly Dog. I'm sure you've seen my pajamas. I've got some bamboo Courage the Cowardly Dog pajamas. Hi, Wahid. How are you doing? I'll start work soon for 4.5 hours in the morning. What are you busy with? I'm busy with a lot of family matters right now. Family matters. I'm working on this commission. It's got to dry. And this, being here, talking with you guys about starting good habits, how to cultivate them, and recovery from addiction, how we make it out of that, how we make it out not just alive, but feeling alive and feeling well. Some of us think that without the drugs, we're going to be depressed for the rest of our lives, but it doesn't really work that way. I mean, unless you're already depressed, then that's a different issue. And oftentimes, when we become addicts, it stems from a much deeper issue, which could be linked to depression or anxiety or the loss of a loved one being the catalyst. With me, it was like a combination of all those things. But I made it out, and I'm clean as of February 28, 2023. It's been about 3.5 years. So I'm happy with myself, and there's nothing wrong with being proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself if you've been clean for 1 month. Because it takes a lot of willpower. And a lot of people don't have that, or don't think they have it. You can convince yourself of something because it's easy to do that. And it becomes a self-fulfilled prophecy, which just creates even more excuses and more feelings of failure and just self-deprecation. And, don't listen to anyone who tells you that, you're always gonna be a junkie or whatever. It's not the case. If you really, really want it, you can have it. Well, thank you, deleted user. Do I speak Turkish? No. I took 3 years of Chinese. That's the most of any other language I ever studied. And I did pretty well with the pronunciation, which is one of the hardest aspects of Chinese. But, the part I had the hardest time with was the listening comprehension. Until my teacher gave us this little technique where you listen to it, like you don't pick apart every little component of the sentence. You want to be able to discern subject, object, verb, and listen to it like it's a song, because it's like it's a melody, because it's a tonal language. And those tones are so important, because if you go to a restaurant, depending on how you enunciate the word sure, you could be saying literal the word shit to that person, Sure means shit. Tage nita sure means wipe your shit. So, you want to be careful. Lots of different, there's like 5 different tones, maybe. So there's like, sure, flat, sure, goes that way. And then, sure. No, okay, then. Sure, dips down, sure. So there'd be like 4, I think. I could be mistaken. Oh, thank you, Lucian. So very dull. Then why are you here, you dipshit? Thank you, Jeffy. Oh, thank you, it's Poofy. Good to see you here. Mercy. Hi, most of Waba. God bless you for a long, happy, healthy life. Thank you. I don't have the willpower. I had to leave. I couldn't say no there. But here I'll never even run into the temptation. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind is a very, very good way to go about quitting a drug like that, you know? Of course, that, for normal people like us, I mean, if you're like a celebrity, if you're like Prince or Keith Richards or whoever, you're gonna you're gonna be able to have someone fly out to you and just anybody, anywhere deliver it. I mean, imagine how hard it is if you're in the thick of addiction, like something like heroin or meth or whatever, and you're like so filthy rich that all you have to do is flick your fingers and then you're basically on the road to relapsing. It's, yeah, so I mean, think about that sometimes. It makes me feel a little bit better about not being rich. Actually, I don't think that would happen with me. Nah, if that, if I could, I would love to have my own little log cabin by an alpine lake with a pack of dogs and maybe, the kindred spirit and soulmate with me. But, that's, a lot of those things are, hard to come by or money can't buy, So, just gotta hope and pray. But yeah, it looks like, actually, I'm not sure. I often get misinformation, but I think my mom might be coming home from the hospital today, so that's good. I hope. I don't know. Honestly, I think they should watch her a little longer. Am I from Oregon? Am I? I'm from the Pacific Northwest. You are my favorite. I am not trans. You can go to hell. Hi, Navina. How are you doing, dear? Row, row, row your boat. What size shoe do I wear? 8.5 women's. I'm 5'7". 5'7", and I wear size 8.5 shoes. Wow. Guys want to hear me impersonate Tucker Carlson? I don't know why you'd want me to do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I don't approve of any of this shit. Yeah, I don't know. 5'7's kind of where you start getting tall as a female. Like, I guess it's the average height in Holland and certain other Scandinavian countries for women. The average height for men in those countries is like 6'1". So there's like the tallest countries. Here it's kind of like, I think the average height for a woman is 5'4" or 5'5". So I'm 2 inches taller than the average in this country. 2 or 3. Join me. Okay. Apart from the obvious, what's one thing you would change about yourself? Well, what's the obvious? I don't get that. Apart from the obvious, what's one thing that you'd change about yourself? I don't know, man. I would want to change. I'd want to be a little more ambitious and motivated. And I'd want to I don't know. I want to get rid of social anxiety, and I'd love it if I could sustain myself a little bit better, right? I work hard, but I don't yeah. I mean, I sell paintings, I walk the neighbors' dogs, and I do this right now. And I worked at a cafe for 10 years. My addiction to heroin for 6 years during the time that I worked there. If I wasn't an addict like that, I probably would have, I will definitely would be in a different place. But I don't regret having my Shando. He gives me so much joy and comfort, and yeah, I'd want to have maybe my own family one of these days, but I've got such crippling anxiety. And I think part of it might come from the situation, just, I don't know, the situations I put myself into. I'm just a little more cautious than I used to be, whether I want to be or not. Am I French? No. No, I'm not French. A lot of people thought I was, though. A lot of people think I look like I am, but I'm not. I got a lot of English and a lot of Danish, a lot of Welsh. So I think it would be like from top to bottom. It would probably go English, Danish, Welsh with me. No, sorry, no. English, Welsh, Danish. Lots of Welsh. I did renew my relationship with God. So yeah, there's that. I'm happy about that. I'm a proud Catholic. I was agnostic for like 10 years. You know? What do you mean? You know, Nirvanas, you don't just go to someone else's live stream, some stranger you don't know, someone who's really working hard on their, streams, being here, trying to be present and engaging with my audience. This is like work to me. I don't know what I would do right now. And not only that, but my channel has been really succeeding. I went from 422 subscribers in January this year, mid-January at that, to now we have 7,100 and something, okay? 7,100 plus. And I make, on average, probably around 50 subscribers during a live stream. That's pretty good for someone who's just starting live streaming, who's just starting out with this thing in particular, My channel was in limbo for years. I mean, for the most part, you'll see that I started my YouTube channel, I should say, 10 years ago, 2016. And for the most part, I was just a kind of a creeper, not a creeper, but I just used it to be able to watch, mature content, and not get kicked out or, just, I just wanted a YouTube channel. I bet I wasn't making videos, right? And I think most people have YouTube like that. They have a channel and everything where they sign in, but they don't necessarily make content themselves. Well, I made 1 or 2 videos for a class when I was in community college, and that was it, like way back then. And then I became an addict, and then I decided to get clean 6 years later, and my faith in Christ was renewed. It took a while. And then I watched some recovery content because it helped me. I would read comments and I'd get ideas from like Andrew Huberman, people like that. And people in the comments would say that we need more, content like this, talking about addiction and how to change our habits and all that. So that just gave me an idea, and I decided to do that. And that was like maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. And I was making just videos and shorts and little skits, and the shorts did pretty well for a first time. Someone who's I'm just being consistent now. I'm actually being serious about the channel. But I only I'd make like 1 or 2 subscribers a day or less, probably, if anything. And I only made up to 422 subscribers up until last January this year. I started live streaming, and now I have 7,100 and something subscribers. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I think this is a good idea. People come to my DMs and tell me that my content is really helping them out. And that means a lot to me, and it makes it all worth it. And I sell paintings, and I help the neighbor out, and I help my family out, and I clean house, and I get a lot, it's not bad as I think sometimes. Sometimes I'm really down on myself. Okay, Santo, you go. Goofball. And I say, Johnny, you need some editing skills and you can make better your content like vlogs. I agree. I do need to improve my editing skills. Know what type of software I should get. I've been figuring out OBS Studio, and there's always some little thing that I'm not, don't know anything about, not that I'm having a hard time with, like having a hard time with trying to make it so I can see the chat while I'm playing games. And I follow all the instructions, but there's always something that I'm missing. It's weird, but it kicks a lot of people's asses. That particular software, apparently it's not just used for like gaming. It could be used for so many different things. Like a lot of people use that software for various practices, like, I don't know, maybe journalism, any type of content, really. But that would be cool. I wish I could take a class, actually. I wish I could just take a class and, how to be, being familiar with software and how to use computers just in general. If there's one thing I wish I could improve about myself, it would be that I'd be good with computers. Hell, man, I feel like my brother could teach me, but he's just too busy. Chris, I don't allow that kind of shit on my channel at all. Asking me to send you my prescribed meds. That's ridiculous. Yeah. We need not wish it to happen. Why do you say that? Whoops. My daughter does all of her own editing. She has 3 million followers on TikTok. Yeah, TikTok, it's not nearly as difficult to make a whole bunch of followers, and that's pretty good. That's still pretty impressive. I have a TikTok. I've posted a few videos, but I don't really post there regularly. I don't. It's probably been like like 3 months since I posted there. Or it seems that way. I don't like TikTok. They're more corrupt than any other social media platform, in my opinion. I mean, they ban people like Blair White, but they allow Lily Tino to stay on. They only care about the money. They don't care about what's, corrupt or what's taboo or anything. All they care about is the money, and they'll ban or cancel people because it's popular to cancel. Like they'll cancel you if you have conservative views, in a lot of cases. I'll say allegedly just in case. But shit, man, if some of the most terrible people have gotten away with so much on that platform, and yet they're still allowed to be on. I mean, isn't Asmongold banned from TikTok? I can't even imagine Asmongold really wanting to be on TikTok. I don't like TikTok. I don't like it myself. Do I go to NA? Hey, Valentine. I do. I used to. I don't anymore these days. Wouldn't be a bad idea, but I'm thinking I'd like to, I find a lot of, contentment, and it helps doing this too. It helps doing this, being with you guys, talking about recovery. Hi, Joshua. Hey. You're doing fine, sweetie. Thank you, Roadrunner. Oh, have you heard Lou Reed's song, Roadrunner? That's such a good song by Lou Reed. Congratulations for being clean and sober off the substance that rhymes with the name Seth. Thank you. Oh no, I never did meth, Jolene. I made it very clear I did heroin. That's different. Ian Keith Richards wouldn't touch meth. No, I didn't do meth. And I don't look or sound. And you not only... The thing is, even if you do meth, even if you know, that doesn't mean all hope is lost. That doesn't mean you can't recover from that. My counselor, or one of them, was a meth addict for years and years and years, like a couple decades or so. And he's been clean for a while, and he looks good. You would never know. You would never think that he ever did meth for that long. But he got clean. He's a counselor. He helped me so much. And I would like to pay it forward in the best way that I can. Well, people, I've tried getting a job as a counselor, There are a few little loopholes to jump through. But I have a feeling that, I don't know, people might perceive me as weak. Too weak to handle that job where I'm sensitive as fuck. I don't take offense to things left and right. And if you're a complete stranger being a jerk, I'm just like, whatever. I mean, that's why I'm able to handle these trolls, If it's someone close to me, like a family member or a friend, then it kind of hits me and it hurts, right? That should be the same with just about anyone. It depends on who it comes from, where it comes from. Good grief, man. They're all barking. What the hell is he doing? Close my door, because I can't do that. Okay. Johnny! I've cut off all my high school friends. I hate people, and they didn't take it lightly that I told them I want nothing to do with them anymore. I'm sorry, Joe Dirt. It's a very typical thing to happen with high school. I can't say I know how that particular thing feels because I was homeschooled. But I do know what it feels like to be estranged from certain siblings. That hurts. Hurts that I'm estranged from my sibling. It's common. I had a childhood friend. I'm estranged from her. I stopped talking to her altogether. I just gave her I ghosted her. Because she changed, man. I don't know what it was. What her dad did to her. What a weirdo. He'd wake us up first thing in the morning when I was 15 years old, 14, 15, 16, and he'd always say this in the morning, waking us up like we were children. It's Teletubby wake-up time. It's Teletubby wake-up time. It's Teletubby wake-up time. And he had this smirk on his face. Huh, Chuck. Okay, so anyway. Bitch. Okay, so she had so many insecurities, man. She wanted to be such a badass that she would brag about her significant other being a felon, like brag about it. And the first one hurt her physically and mentally, and she was bragging about him too, bragging about the size of his package. And then when she dumped his ass, because he was mentally and physically ABUS, IVE, she ended really quickly, and it's like, I'm kind of just going by her word back in the day, not maybe 10 years ago or so. 2016 sounds about right. 17, maybe 2018. But anyway, she went out with this other guy who happened to be a felon. She's getting all these tattoos, and she's starting to shave her head and dye it green. She's starting to look like a typical Portland libtard. You can tell she's all like, I'm pansexual, I'm this and that, and just totally changing, a total 180, and you can tell it's her group of friends. You can tell she's being brainwashed. You can tell she's just not being herself. But I never said anything about any of that, you know? She also, like, gained 100 pounds. And, which, you know, it is what it is. Wouldn't surprise me anyway because they were stuck in their parents back when I was like 14. They moved their kids, my friend and her sister, to the boonies, where the nearest grocery store you gotta drive there. You know, I remember I stayed there for a month and I was like, "There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home." At the end of that month, no, seriously, they were gone though. I wasn't doing it in front of them because I didn't want to be rude, but yeah, they were gone on some trip. I forget, and I stayed that one time, and I was like, there's no place like home. I can't wait to get out of here because I missed trees. I missed riding my bike. That's the first thing I did when I got home. I got on my bike and I started, you know, I went riding down the nature trail with the wind in my hair, the leaves like fans blowing in my face. It was really nice. Anyway, so I'll tell you what the final straw was that broke the camel's back and why I ended that friendship. It was because I introduced her to my friend Adrian, the guy who passed away. I'll show you the painting, okay? This is a painting of my friend Adrian, right? He did not hold back when it came to his opinion. He wasn't mean about it. He was just opinionated. I wouldn't even say harsh. But he said he didn't like pugs, that they're like an abomination. And I think that those dog shows where they have, you know, it's like a dog competition, those shows are responsible for why pugs are bred to look a certain way, so that you know, hurts their health, like the punched in face and the eyes bulging out and all that, you know, big skull too big for to fit. I mean, they're, yeah, like their eyes just pop out. It's very common. Stuff like English bulldogs, you know, 80% of English bulldogs have to be delivered via cesarean section because their heads are too big. True story. You can look it up. Anyway, so he's been critical. He didn't like pugs. And that's it. That's all he said. She got super triggered and super angry that he had an opinion on that. And I tried to be a peacemaker. I tried coming in and being like, hey, you know, he doesn't really mean, you know, he doesn't necessarily hate pugs. Like, he doesn't wish that they'd all burn or anything. He just doesn't like the breeding. You know, we've talked about that before. Because I grew up with a pug, and he mentioned it, and I'm like, oh, you're right. You know, I was chill. But she lost her shit. And as I'm trying to be the peacemaker, and not only that, but I didn't say anything mean to her. I didn't insult her. Nothing. And I should have. She said that I like men with small dicks. Okay, so first of all, I told her my relationship with this 66-year-old man was platonic. He's my muse and my kindred spirit. But I'm aware that he is too old for me. We hang out, we're best friends. Like, what are you... Not only that, but like after I broke up with my boyfriend, who just so happened to be Asian, she said that too, which was very racist. And there was one time when back in 2010, my Asian boyfriend was always playing video games. He'd play those those video games where it's like online multiplayer. You have the other army. I don't play games like these, okay? But you'd build up your own fortress, and you have to keep enemies from going in and destroying your fortress or whatever, I think, and there are all these like little insect characters and whatever. I forget what it was called. But he, you know, back in 2010, 11, 12, I would say between 2010 and 2015, if I'm not mistaken, people said the N-word constantly. And he was always saying the N-word. Because it was more like banter back then, you know? That was a very common thing in that culture, you know? No one thought anything of it. It wasn't necessarily, there was no malice behind it. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was racist. There was no hard R used or anything like that. But these days it'd be super taboo. Like, you can't do that, and people stop doing that on places like Twitch and YouTube and, you know, playing games because they can get demonetized, deplatformed, you know? It's different now. Well, anyway, he said that all the time, you know? I didn't, but it did slip out once. Just the exact same way he'd say it, like, you know, that kind of tone. I'm not gonna say it. Oh my gosh, my ex-friend was all over my ass. And I heard her say some of the, okay, so it's only not okay, like, she said some of the most racist things about Asian people to me, filled with so much malice, you know? That was obviously a gotcha moment for her, you know? She didn't care, like, for goodness sakes. Isn't it kind of funny how the people who are always squealing racism about every tiny little thing are usually the ones who are racist themselves? Usually. I put my painting up. Why am I yapping so much? Because I'm on a live stream, you dipshit. What else am I supposed to do? Damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? If I don't yap, people say, you never engage with the audience, or what are you even doing? Oh, you're so boring. And then if I actually talk with you guys, it's like, shut your big yapper, you know? Fuck off. You're a whatever, chode. I'm 19 years old. Oh, I tried not to make a lover, especially to find the right woman. Well, you're a smart person. Absolutely. You're doing the right thing, man. I wish I would have been a little more calculated when it comes to that sort of thing when I was your age. That's when I met, you know, my first serious relationship, and I got, you know, basically I was their friend for a whole year, and oh my God, I had rejected them like 3 times. Never heard the end of that throughout our entire relationship. Like, how dare I even say no to him in the first place? And it just like, yeah, it really, you got to be careful about that, because I thought I was in love, but I really wasn't. It was more like the idea of being in love. I was too naive to know what that even was. Once I was actually in love with someone, I didn't reject them once. Like, I would never reject them. I pursued them, you know? I know when I'm in love, and I'm not accepting anything less, and that's very good on you. You waste less time. You know, if I had been a little bit wiser and less of a fool about this sort of thing, I'd probably have a husband and kids by now. I probably wouldn't have touched drugs. But it is what it is. Oh, damn. I'm finding more and more that I need glasses while I'm reading the chat even. Let's see. I'm gonna crack my back. Oh, not gonna do it. When I say Johnny. Okay, where's my glasses? Man. Drugs are for the weak. Well, it takes a very, very strong person to overcome them. No, anyone can become an addict. It does not mean you're weak. There are like hundreds and hundreds of circumstances and factors which can contribute to a person becoming an addict to any substance that's super addictive. You know, it could be ignorance, naivete, it can be tragedy, it can be like, you know, there are people who completely off themselves. And in a sense, it's kind of like that, where you don't want to feel anymore. You want an escapism. You don't want to deal with anything anymore. You just can't take it anymore. You can't take the torment in your mind. We all have different lives and different circumstances. Some people have it, I mean, most people have it way worse than I do. Way worse than I ever did, you know? Yeah. With me, it was mostly eating disorder, social anxiety, and the death of my grandma, and all the other shit that came before and after that. And it wasn't good, but there are people who are like, they live in torn up places with torn up families where you know, there's stuff that's unspeakable, man. Some parents give their kids the drugs when they're little and know nothing. You know, like Robert Downey Jr.'s dad gave him drugs. You know, we all have different scenarios, different circumstances, and no one has a right to judge. No one has a right to put anybody down. Especially if a person is trying so hard and striving to stay clean. That takes a lot of grit. Not just strength, but grit. And I've been clean. Someone told me that past the 5th year of heroin addiction, you're fucked. And there are a lot of people who prove that statement wrong. He said that because he was an addict for 40 years and he didn't know how to quit, so help him. In fact, he said the longest he had been clean was 5 years. And that's probably where he got that bullshit. No. I know people who'd used for decades and, you know, managed to get clean and stay clean. I know 3 people like that, and more who are just acquaintances, you know, and people I've just met. I've been clean for 3.5 years, and I was a user of it for 6 years. So I proved them wrong. We proved them wrong, and that's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Such a beautiful thing to prove these naysayers wrong, isn't it? That's as vindictive as I'm gonna get. I get a pleasant feeling, little tingle, when I prove someone wrong. You know, there are people who want to see you go down. There are people who want to see you fail. Well, you know, some people, it's like they want to say, I told you so. Or they can't stand being proved wrong. Or, you know, they don't like seeing that you're strong. They imagine that perhaps some of these people imagine themselves in the same scenario and think, I couldn't do it. You know, you know, I still can't put down the bottle or whatever. And here they are managing to quit something like heroin. You know, I wasn't like an alcoholic for long enough to know like just how, I mean, I know it's super difficult. It ends people, man. You know, and the withdrawal from alcohol can kill you. It was like 3 years I was trying to substitute it for the heroin, and it was right after my best friend passed away, and that nearly killed me a lot faster than the heroin almost did. The heroin was like a slow rise, like you had the honeymoon phase, first 2 years, 3 years, and then all of a sudden, downhill. I stopped doing everything I loved. I was working on like 10 paintings simultaneously, but then I stopped doing that. It was like a succubus that lured me in, made it seem like I'd have everything, all my faculties at hand, and I'd still enjoy what I like to do, and I could only do it once a week. I couldn't. It went from once a week to every other day of the week to every day to twice a day to 3 times a day, and then my whole paycheck went to it. I couldn't paint. I couldn't like buy my own video games or, you know, have my own shit. Everything was revolving around heroin. I didn't have a boyfriend. Nothing. That was it. And it almost consumed my entire life. Well, it did for a little bit. But I managed to clamber back out of that. And I'm here to prove that we do recover. And the difference between heroin and coke, in my opinion, in terms of like how it makes you feel, heroin is not a party drug. It does not make you, like, it slows you down, makes you nod out. I've done coke once, or twice, and it turned me into Robin Williams. And I was having a threesome with a friend. Only time I've ever done that. Every time I ever will do that. We're honest here. And I wouldn't stop yapping my big yapper. I was fucking, man, like, I didn't even know I was capable of that. It's like, no wonder so many comedians do coke. So many stand-up comedians do coke. Do you ever notice that? Or drink and coke. I could only be like that if I did coke. That's dangerous. Because I sure did love how that felt. I would not stop telling jokes, and they were actually funny. And the guy was like, okay, so it's me, my girlfriend, and this guy she introduced me to. And he's just, my girlfriend's just being like, all like, oh, shut up, Anne. And the guy's like, no, continue. You're amusing as fuck. That was funny. My friend was jealous. She was jealous. In fact, he only paid attention to me, so she left. And I felt bad. I felt really bad. Like, you're gonna go walk home alone, leave me with this stranger I've never met? This is your friend, man, you introduced me to, and this was your whole idea. This is your whole idea, and you're gonna leave me alone just because you didn't get as much attention? Girl, I'm 20 years younger than you. I mean, no offense, but... like, it's like she did that on purpose, you know? To put herself into a situation that would make her out to be the victim. I don't know. It was just weird how that... I felt like it was a setup. But yeah, that was crazy. But man, I've seen some pictures of people who've been addicted to cocaine, what it did to them, what it did to their faces, their noses. That's a nightmare, man. That's nightmare fuel. Do you still have something in... oh, dear Lord. I'm not gonna read that. What the heck? Hey, Steven, do you ever have moments where physically, mentally, or emotionally you suddenly get an extreme craving urge where you have to do something drastic to stop yourself? It's, not lately. Again, I've been clean for like 3.5 years now. And the only time I craved was last time my mom was taken to the hospital. And it was so brief though. But it still surprised me. And I would say drug dreams are very dangerous. What I do instantly in that moment is I get my hands on some weed. And I smoke some weed. That doesn't just prevent drug dreams, but makes me so I'm not even motivated to go out and get anything. I suddenly feel like my mind slows down. I'm not on this fast trajectory to self-destruction like I would be if I had made up my mind to go decide and go to the dealer and get my shit. That's a dangerous, slippery slope, and it is a clear trajectory to inevitable demise. Prisons, institutions, or death. That's where you're gonna end up if you do heroin. And they're all different, but some kill you faster than others. Some are more socially acceptable than others, like alcohol. Alcohol is like, I looked it up, what's the most dangerous drug? And of course it's probably, if we're thinking like in the whole world, like what's the most dangerous substance anyone could take, regardless of whether it's, in the country or not, around or not. It's probably something like crocodile or flakka. But in terms of drugs that you can get your hands on around here, the most dangerous is alcohol, apparently. Fentanyl is the most dangerous in how little can kill you. But in terms of how much damage is caused and how much, like, in general, alcohol is used by way more people and causes a lot more destruction overall. Which is crazy. Crazy. I used to be able to handle my alcohol till my best friend passed away. I'd be able to keep a bottle of Jack Daniels in my cupboard, and I'd keep it there like a security blanket, and someone else would find it and end up drinking it instead of me. After my best friend passed away, it all went down the tubes. But I'm lucky to be alive, guys. I really am. The only time I ever OD'd was when I drank alcohol on top of it. Waking up in an ambulance was scary. And that first time that happened, I drank an entire fifth of whiskey, headed over to the bar, called my dealer, had another drink. So I'm drinking all night, get up in the morning, go to the bar, take the train 45 minutes out, go to the bar where my best friend Adrian and I used to chill, and I used to listen to him tell me stories, and I'd give him all my drinks. I wasn't a big drinker, like I said, but this time I was. And I hadn't used heroin in a month before this. My dealer comes, I take the hit, drink all my alcohol, go into the restroom. It's a single person restroom. You lock the door on yourself. And just by coincidence, the bartender happened to just get a job there. And I knew all the bartenders, but not that much. This guy happened to be my friend. And all the other bartenders wouldn't have noticed me either way if I would have walked into that bathroom, I don't think. You know, but he kept his eye on me because he knew all the other bartenders didn't know about my heroin issue. This guy did. And he happened to be my friend. We used to sit at this bar as well, and we would, we would sketch the mug shots. You know, we'd copy the mug shots, make little sketches of people's faces. And we were good friends, man. He's a cool cat, too. But he noticed me go in there, noticed that I was in there for just 20 minutes, and when he couldn't get the door open, he had to call in someone to help and get an ambulance. And I woke up in the ambulance. And first thing at the hospital, I puked in the trash can, and then I asked them if I could go, and they just said, yeah, go. I think there was like one question, one little thing, like, oh, good. I had to ask my parents' permission, probably. I forget what it was, but it was easy for me to just go and get another hit, you know? Well, thank you, Barry. Hey, Donkey Meat. Oh, thank you for the eagle, Jeffy. And Pierre Lusa? Thank you. Are you happy after letting go? I'm happy after letting go of heroin, yes. I kicked that big fat monkey right off my back. And I'm going to, I've been clean for 3.5 years, like I said. Every day that you're clean from something like that is a triumph. And at first it takes so much strength. You deal with the peak of withdrawal pain on day 3. Day 2 and 3 are the worst when it comes to physical pain. That bone deep muscle twisting, sweating through several layers of sheets, shitting out both ends, sneezing is like the first sign that you're gonna go through all that. It's an impending sense of doom before it happens. You know it's coming. It's like that scene from Trainspotting where he's laying in the bed, he's like, oh, it's coming, it's inevitable. But only thing is, I didn't hallucinate. I didn't see any dead babies crawling on my ceiling or anything like that. But, or I didn't find Bigby in my bed, or Adrian. But yeah, that's, once you get past that, after a week, you're as weak as a kitten. And then you gotta be careful at that point. That I would say once you get to the 30-day point, that's the most dangerous in terms of you relapsing, because despite going through all that pain, that boredom and anxiety and restlessness and emotional turbulence that had been dormant up until this point, and the fact that you're bored and not even motivated to do anything else or to distract yourself with anything, that's the most dangerous point, because twice I relapsed on day 30 because of that, because of the boredom and the anxiety. So you gotta be in a place where you have support on hand. Call your counselor, get a therapist, get some good books, go to AA and A meetings, go to outpatient, meditate, get plenty of nutrition, because Lord knows that throughout those years of using heroin, you probably malnourished yourself. You know, that sounded like wrong from the way I said it, but yeah, I mean, your brain is screaming for you to take care of it, and give it water, oxygen, food. And when I say, like, a lot of us don't even know how to breathe right. You know, that's why meditation is so good. And yoga, you take a very deep inhale, and not in your lungs, but into your belly. And then you hold it for 5 seconds, and then you exhale 5 seconds. And you do that again and again. Like, that's just going to make you feel so much better. I used to do that on the train every day when Shanda was a puppy. You know, early on in my recovery, he'd just lay down next to me in the park grass, or, you know, we'd go to this little secluded park, and I'd meditate. I'd be like crisscross applesauce meditating, and he'd just lay in my lap while I was meditating. It was so sweet. Having a pet dog helps if you think you're stable enough, if you think you can take care of the dog. You know, or just taking care of your family, taking care of a friend, you know, paying it forward. It feels really good. Or, you know, just giving something back, or finding something bigger than yourself, you know? Not constantly, you know, living worried about yourself all the time, you know, having no one else to really, I don't know how to it's hard to delineate, but it's like, life feels a lot better. You feel a lot better when you have something or someone to live for, man. And when you can pay it forward, when you're not just solely living for yourself, you know. It's a very, it gets rid of my anxiety, you know. I have a question. If Catholic people pray, we don't pray to statues, man. That's a huge misconception. It's not true at all. Not true at all. Those statues and Our Lady are honored. They're honored. But you know, here's the thing. I might not have the most articulate answer to that. So we're going to go to Google. And I'm going to look up, do Catholics worship Mary and statues? We don't. That goes against the first 10th commandment, and it's against our faith. But of course, Protestants, you know, many of them, and I've known this since I was a little kid. I've seen it go down. They try to gaslight everyone into thinking that Catholics worship idols and statues, and that we worship Mary, and that, you know, that it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Same people would probably, you know, call me a bigot for not approving of paganism. But let me just see here. Do Catholics worship idols? No, and you see, I looked up, do Catholics worship idols? No. No. Catholics do not worship idols. The church strictly forbids. Idolatry and teaches, like I just said, and teaches that worship belongs to God alone. While statues and icons are present in Catholic churches, they function as visual aids and are treated as physical reminders of holy figures, much like holding a photograph of a loved one. How many times do I need to spell that out for people who assume that Catholics worship icons? We don't. We never did. It's like the way some people constantly say that Trump did this, Trump did that when he didn't. You don't care about the truth. You just want to put Catholics down. You just want to dunk on Catholics. That's your end goal. That's the only goal you have here. You don't want to know the truth. But I'm spilling it out for you right now, for what it's worth, so you're not spreading misinformation around here. I'm a proud Catholic, and you're not going to tell me that I worship idols, because I don't. None of us do. Look at this. Look at this. We weren't done. We weren't fucking done here. Okay, so Catholics draw a clear distinction between adoration, worship reserved only to God, only for God, and veneration. Veneration. New word of the day. Veneration. 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 Veneration is the act of showing profound respect, reverence, or awe towards a person, place, or object. The act of showing profound respect, reverence, or awe toward a person, place, or object. It typically stems from recognizing deep wisdom, historical significance, exceptional talent, or sacred value. There you go. Veneration. Okay. Honor. Okay, so Catholics draw a clear distinction between adoration, worship reserved only for God, and veneration, honor given to the saints. When Catholics pray near a statue, the prayers are directed to God or the saint the statue represents, not the physical object itself. The practice of using religious imagery dates back to biblical times, such as the golden cherubim God commanded Moses to place on the Ark of the Covenant. You can learn more blah 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 about the official teachings on the sacred art and prayer, from the Catholic.com, from the Catholic.com explanation, or the Christianity Stack Exchange discussion. There you go. Even Reddit says, no, we don't. Reddit, do Catholics worship idols? This person says, no, worship is only for God. Have you been to a Catholic worship service? It begins and ends in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. We worship God, the Trinity. The statues of the saints are examples of lives well lived, and we venerate them. Word of the day, guys. Venerate. Anywho. Cool story, bro. No, actually, Catholics are Christians. Anyone who worships Christ, anyone who prays to Jesus, is a Christian, by definition. In fact, Catholics are the first Christians. St. Peter was the first pope upon which the first church, the first Christian church, was built, and that was a Catholic church. And the difference between, like, say Catholics and, like, Russian or Greek Orthodox, and I like Russian and Greek Orthodox, actually. The difference there is that they don't believe the Pope is the head of the church, but they believe in the Holy Trinity. It's like, you know, and they receive the Eucharist. You know, I think there's a lot of Protestantism stems from rebellion. Like King Henry VIII wanted to divorce his wife, and Catholic Church wouldn't allow him. So he's set about creating his own branch of Christianity where he could do whatever he wanted, which was Anglicanism. And then you have like Lutheran, same type of deal. I don't know that much about how Lutheranism originated, but we all know it's from Germany, and I learned about that such a long time ago. I have to look into that again because I'm curious now. Thank you for the gifts, guys. What's your thoughts on a man pretending to... Oh, guys, I got it. I want to be careful. Here's what I think. I have a lot of respect for people like Blair White. And if they were to come into, like, a room, regardless of whether I know that they're trans or not, like, that they're biologically male, I would refer to them as a female. I would say she, out of respect. It's a social thing. Because here's the thing, if I didn't know anything about their gender, they walked into a restaurant and I had to refer to them, and it's just like, come have a seat, I would say ma'am or she, because she looks like a woman. She presents as a woman. She gives woman. Like, it would just be silly to call her a man, considering. But if you're to acknowledge just reality, just scientifically, like just is what it is, you know, then I know that she's a biological man. Even she's able to, you know, say that she's, you know, she has enough integrity to be able to say, you know, how it is, what it is, for what it is, you know. But in terms of just like, you know, being considerate and just social and respectful, you know, like I know other trans people who, the thing is, I mentioned Blair White a lot, and I could mention Buck Angel. I like Buck Angel a lot. You know, I know other trans people in my life who are some of the nicest. You know, they're not even like into the politicized community aspect where they're trying to shove it down kids' throats. You know, I know some trans people who just want to mind their own business and just go about, you know, presenting and identifying as you know, the respective gender that they feel an affinity for, or you know, they feel that that's who they are, and I respect them. And you know, it's not, I'm not gonna misgender like someone who I really respect and someone who obviously presents as that gender. You know, I truly do believe that some people, you know, feel like they're a different gender stuck in the wrong body. But yeah, I mean, obviously with how people are trying to make it into a fad, and I just, my whole stance is, if you're an adult, I don't care. Do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. Whatever makes you happy if you're an adult. But leave the kids alone, and leave women's spaces alone. That includes women's sports and women's prisons and women's restrooms and children's spaces. Very much so. Stop trying to shove it down kindergartners' throats. You know? Here's the thing. When I was a kid and growing up, I was a tomboy, a big tomboy. I climbed trees. I hung out with the boys. You know, I didn't, you know. Well, I tried to hang out with the girls sometimes, and I'd get kicked out sometimes. You know, sometimes they were nice. Most of the time, though, they were mean, but kind of catty, and would compare who, you know, what. I could tell one of them was jealous because I was always skinny and they were always fat, but anyway, back in the day, I forgot where I was even going with that. Total brain fart. It'll come back. I think it'll come back. That's what happens when I go on a tangent. Sometimes I veer off the road and forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I was talking about kids. Leave the kids alone. And gender affirming care, I think, is very corrupt. They gaslight parents into thinking that their kids, it's now or never, otherwise their kids are gonna end themselves, you know? Like, we all know what Big Pharma is trying to do. And they're trying to make eternal patients out of us. They want us to be addicted to Ozempic. They want us, because you gotta be on that forever, otherwise guess what? You lose all your muscle mass. And then once you stop taking it, you gain more weight than you had before, because you have no metabolic engine to, you know, to work to compensate for that. So there's that. With Ozempic, you got to be on it forever. And then there's, yeah, the transitioning children everywhere trying to shove it down kids' throats. And man, I've seen some of the most heinous shit come out of teachers' mouths, and you hear the children and they can't even spell the ABCs. They can't even say their ABCs. They're that young. And you're trying to shove, I wouldn't even want to shove heterosexuality on the front. No, kids shouldn't be thinking about sex, period. That's what I think. You know? It's gonna really hurt these kids, and more we're hearing about people detransitioning. Blair White talks about this stuff too. And I have a lot of respect for trans people who have their own journey, and they're just doing what makes them happy in life, and I respect that. You do you, whatever makes you happy, but just leave the kids alone. Stop trying, like any creepy predator can use that as a disguise so that they can gain access to children and women. It's such an easy way for them now, because libtards are just going to be like, oh, you're a woman because you just put a wig on. Oh, I believe you. And then they're going to let that person transfer to a female prison, and you look at the record, and it's all SA against women. I mean, come on now. And obviously this is what they want. They don't care about our safety. They don't care about women's safety. They don't care about women's sports. They don't care about... And I'm not feminist, okay? I would say I really appreciate the suffragettes and what they did for me. I appreciate being able to have my own credit card. I appreciate being able to go and do whatever I want, essentially having equal rights. But I'm aware that we're not the same. We have differences, different strengths and different weaknesses, different tendencies. And of course, there's always the exception is the rule and all that. Yeah, it is what it is. Oh, man. Yeah. Ha 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 ha. Catholics don't worship Mary, though. Yep. Christians pray directly to Christ. Catholics light candles and worship. We do not worship the deceased saints, and I just explained all this to you dipshit. You know what? You're the type of person I like to ban because you're spreading misinformation, and I don't like that. I just educated you thoroughly on that, and you're gonna go and say that we worship Mary and the saints? You're fucking stupid. Sorry to say. And why don't you say the same thing about Russian and Greek Orthodox? Because they have statues too. Veneration. Veneration. Do I need to spell it out for you? Bye-bye, bitch. Okay, I've had enough of that fucking asshole. Yeah, well, we're not arguing. I'm educating people. I'm educating. There's no argument to be had. It's just the truth. People are making untrue claims about Catholics, and I get sick of that because it's not true. And anyone with a fucking brain would know that. We do not worship Mary and the saints. I don't just need to tell you that. I could, all you have to do is Google it. You can go anywhere, and we do not, you're going to find that we do not worship saints, and we do not worship Mary. We venerate them. We honor them. We honor them as soldiers of Christ. We honor them. Christ, Jesus, the Holy Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, we do worship. We do not worship the saints. We do not worship Mary. Don't let anyone fill your head with misinformation like that, because it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. It's not true. And these people are just like the people who hate Trump. They hate Catholics with a similar, malice. They don't care about the truth. They're going to keep regurgitating and spewing out the same repeated lie again and again and again. And no matter how much you try to tell them or educate them, they're just like, I can't hear you. Sounding all like Pee Wee Herman. And I was also raised Catholic. And no, you know what? She knows it firsthand because she is a pharma dependent as well as for Suboxone. No, that's Even if I wasn't taking Suboxone, these are just my observations. I'm not trans, and I don't take Ozempic, and I'm on Suboxone. Most of us are prescribed something from the pharmacy. That's nothing to shame anyone over. It's keeping my cravings at bay. I was on 3 strips, and now guess what? I'm on 1 per day, if not half of 1, depending on how distracted I get throughout the day. I don't even think about it, because guess what? If you've been an H addict, if you've been addicted to opioids, you're not going to feel high from Suboxone. It's a different story if you've never done them before. Then you are going to feel high. I've experienced it before. You know, I've done Suboxone before I ever did heroin. I did a couple strips. It made me super high. But if you've done heroin, you know, your brain is kind of hardwired. The opioid receptors are just kind of, I don't know how you describe it, but you don't feel any high anymore. You just don't feel sick anymore. So I take as much as I need to not feel sick. And I reduce it every other 2 weeks to a month. I'll reduce it by at least a quarter or half. And it's going down more and more and more and more. I'll be free of this stuff soon. No, I'm not forever reliant on Big Pharma. I know some people take that stuff forever, but I'm not reliant on Big Pharma. Make no mistake about that. I don't even take any SSRIs, or I tried them out. I tried Wellbutrin at one point, but I found that I felt better without it, so I stopped taking it. And I don't want to be dependent on that stuff. And I want to be able to choose whether I want to experiment with something like methylene blue, which is good for the hemoglobin. I've heard good things about that. I try that. In fact, I've done it before and it makes me feel better. It makes me feel rejuvenated. There's that, and I want to try St. John's wort, you know. I want to be able to see if like lion's mane works. There are certain things you just can't mix with SSRIs, otherwise you're going to get serotonin syndrome. And I don't want to have that, you know, have to worry about that. Yeah, they did make me feel better. And I also remembered how they changed a friend of mine when I was younger, when I was like in my late teens. I had a friend who was super depressed, but she got on some type of SSRI, and she was it wasn't like it subdued her so much as it just made her crazy. You know, she was just like, her whole voice changed, and she was just always just, you know, those kind of creepy people who convert to Christianity just really randomly. There's no like build up. It's just sort of like, there's some people who, I mean, I think it's good to become Christian or convert to Christianity. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that in and of itself, but you have some people who act a little weird about it, and like, kind of reminds me of like, it's hard to describe, but there are some YouTubers who they're known for doing really seedy shit, and then all of a sudden they convert to Christianity so that like people will forget about their past and what they've done. You know, there's like, I don't know, it was like she just discovered it, and there's just something fake about it. There's just something fake about the way she presented herself and the way she presented it. Her voice was just always high-pitched and like, you know, this not herself, and that it was just really unsettling. Yeah. What do Catholics say about LGBT? All Catholics have different views and perceptions on things like that, but I have nothing against. It's not my right to judge. It's up to God, not me. You know, I think that's the way all Catholics should be. You know, what all Catholics should say is like, it's not up to me, it's up to God. I've known Catholics who are, you know, really nasty to LGBT and say, you know, they're the kinds of people who need to look in the mirror themselves, because they go around pointing fingers, they're going to hell, that person's going to hell, you know, oh, I know they're going to hell. But then it's like what they're doing behind closed doors is arguably worse, because they're actively causing harm to the people around them and being really selfish, and you know. So I think it's different. depending on which Catholic you meet. Some Catholics are more liberal, some are more conservatives, got more traditionalist Catholics. I'm kind of in the middle. For instance, I'm more traditionalist in that I don't like I like a church doesn't seem so self-absorbed, like happy clappy, it's all about, like, when they let the people, the churchgoers, hand out the Eucharist and put it in people's mouth. Not only is that, like, that seems unsanitary, but that should only be for the priest who is standing in the shoes of, or standing in place of St. Peter, as to govern the church. He's like a middleman, God's middleman, if you will. That they should not be letting the people give that out. I find it so cringe. That seems so wrong to me. And also, I don't think female priests should be a thing. I'm sorry, I do not think it. I don't believe in that. But I'm probably a little liberal in some senses. Some little senses, like well, I'd let anyone come to church. No one's gonna, like, send you out of the church because you're, like, gay or anything. But I also don't think, I think that everyone has a special place in God's heart, and God has a special place in all of our hearts. And Blair White is Christian. She converted to Christianity. She has a very special relationship with Jesus. So I think that's their own personal business. That's not my business or right to judge. And I honor and respect whatever relationship they have with Christ, no matter who they are. A lot of, we always like to pick out and nitpick every little tiny, like, we like to cherry pick what we consider to be sins or just worthy of condemnation, when we look in the mirror, there are probably so many sins that we are, practicing ourselves that we don't even notice because it's not as taboo today. But there are a lot of shitty things that people do, while also, pointing to everyone else around them. And it's also an easy way to distract from, to avoid looking into the mirror themselves, avoid acknowledging their faults, their flaws, taking accountability. I think one of the biggest ways that a lot of people try to avoid accountability is by focusing on everybody else's sins, Is your one side of lips penalized? I have no idea what you're saying, buddy. Just like Sigourney in Ghostbusters. It's a good look. Oh, thank you. I haven't seen Ghostbusters in a long time, but I really like Sigourney Weaver, and I like Bill, what is his name? I got Bill Maher stuck in my head now. Bill. Oh my gosh. He was in Ghostbusters and Stripes, and how come I can't remember his name? Why do I think his name is Bill? Let me look that up. Oh, Bill Murray. It is what it is. Oh, I love Lady Diana. Thank you, mods, for taking care of these arseholes. I appreciate it very much. There's a difference between Catholic and a Christian. Well, Catholics are Christians. We worship Jesus, ergo we're Christians. I know a lot of Protestants don't like that. They want to be completely separated from us because a lot of Protestants don't like us because we're the OG. But it is what it is. We are Christians, whether you like it or not. I'm going to go use the restroom. I'll be right back. Hey, hey. Be right back. Hey, baby boy. Get yourself comfortable. Baby. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Count Olaf. Okay. No, women did a lot, contributed a lot in the war. It's not like there isn't just going to war. There's also holding down the fort. And back in World War II, women took over a lot of jobs that men couldn't operate because they were, well, busy on the front lines, you know, in war. Good women honor and appreciate men who, you know, and men as well. We appreciate and honor our veterans and men who go to war for us to have the freedoms that we do. But don't disparage and take away from all the contributions that women have you know, given during the wars. You know, someone's got to hold down the fort. Someone's got to take care of the family. And, you know, someone has integrity. I mean, there are some women who can fight in battle, and there's some who can't, right? I don't think I ever could, because I'm not tough enough. But I am tough enough to bear children. I'm tough enough to go through, you know, have cramps every month and menopause and all those hormonal fluctuations. I'm strong enough to overcome heroin. I'm strong enough to rear and raise the next generation. There are various, you know, there are so many different kinds of strengths, and we utilized what strength we had when men were at war to make the place, you know, make the world a better place to live in. And, you know, just think of Hedy Lamarr. There were a lot of women who contributed in war. There were women, you know, actually on the front lines. There were female snipers. Ever hear of the female snipers? Again, I'm not a feminist. I'm just pointing out facts, you know. Women aren't as useless as that one guy up there strongly implied, flat out. Yeah, there were female snipers in World War II. They killed a lot of enemies. There are women who killed lots of Nazis. I know it's gonna make some people triggered, but it is what it is, you know. I don't think I could do that, but there are some people who could. Hedy Lamarr was a huge asset during the war, during World War II. Not only that, but she was the most beautiful woman in the world. People, idiots, stupid people think that being attractive and being smart are mutually exclusive when they're not. Fucking stupid. But you literally do have people who think that, who think you can't be attractive and smart at the same time. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Anyway, she's responsible for why we have Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 100%. Oh yeah, women helped in the war more than I would have ever guessed. If you really look into it, of course it's not as much women were in the war on the battlefield as much as men. Of course not. We don't have like the same capacity, like physical capacity and strength that you do. But there were things that we were able to do, some of us. More than I thought too. Some women had to disguise themselves and sneak out, in order to be able to fight. You had back in the day women dressing up as men in order to be able to fight on the front lines, and they went down in history for being super, super brave and gutsy. Yeah. Okay, let's see. It's like, when people say there shouldn't be female police officers or whatever, okay, so I think that there are different roles for different officers, police officers, It's not black and white. For instance, female police officers are super useful and nice to have around when you're patting down a woman, when you're trying to search a woman, make sure she didn't have any needles or anything. It's better if you have a woman searching her. Or like an interrogation room with detective work. Oftentimes they'll choose a female interrogator, and on purpose specifically because we're good communicators and we have the nurturing, like we're good at nurturing, and so we come across as being very warm sometimes, and that'll make it so that people are able to open up and spill the beans. That's, women are really good in interrogation rooms, very often. With men or women. Especially women. Now, when it comes to like a house fire, when it comes to firefighters, I would much rather have a bunch of firemen come in there because they, I'm 5'7". I'm pretty light, but I think, your average sized woman would still have a hard time picking up my awkward, lanky body and hoisting it over her shoulders. And I don't know, maybe if you knew some judo, you'd be better at that. But even judo is like, it's like designed for men, My brother took judo in school. I remember he taught me this one move, and I was actually able to hoist my 250-pound brother over my back. That's pretty cool, man. Judo's pretty cool in that sense. Yeah, judo's basically throwing people, hoisting someone over your back like a sack of potatoes and being able to run with him or her, My brother, like I said, my brother taught me this move. I was actually able to hoist him over my back and carry him a little ways. That's right, I am strong. Judo's from Japan? Yeah, I think so. Oh, I took some Tai Chi in school. I should do Tai Chi. Tai Chi's very good. It's very good for coordination. And it's like, to me, it seems like a cross between, martial arts, meditation, and yoga, I'm a coffee lover. I like them both. I typically have 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and then I'll have tea for the rest of the day. And my favorite teas, I like oolong. It's like a fermented green tea. I like oolong. I like matcha. I like sencha fukamushi. It's like the sencha, it's kind of like a cross between just regular green tea and matcha. It's kind of thick. And I also like raspberry and lemon tea. I like so many different types of teas. But I would say my favorite kind is oolong, especially if it's really nutty. Has a nutty profile. I do not look like a founding father. Unless I do this. I have some wigs. Want me to try on some wigs? I don't have one of those wigs, though. You know, and like some British courts, they still wear those powdered wigs. I think it looks so stupid. Ooh, yes, I like oolong. Do I like Dr. Pepper? I had some Dr. Pepper flavored Tic Tacs the other day. They were really good. But I'm not a soda drinker. Just not healthy. I like that probiotic soda, though. Like the Ollie stuff. That's like, you got the strawberry cream, and I like orange cream. I don't like orange soda, but I like orange cream. I don't like artificial orange flavor unless it's like creamsicle orange. I wouldn't want to get into a debate, honestly. And it's not because I'm scared or anything. It's not something I do, you know? And I know other people who, you know, despite, like Asmongold, he won't do that. He won't debate people in real life because, you know, he's kind of not necessarily a super confrontational guy. He likes to just, you know, do his thing. You know, he doesn't like to have a one-on-one debate with like Hassan or anything. He's not going to do that. You know, I relate to that in a sense. It's not my cup of tea, you know? Yeah, vaping is bad, I know. Asmon? Yeah. I like Asmongold. He's inspiring to me. I listen to him. I fall asleep to his voice. I find his voice really soothing. Yeah, it's all ego. And, you know, you have people really just, like, trying to manipulate you in debates, trying to have a little gotcha moment, you know, talking over you. It can get pretty dirty. And I just don't want that stress. You know, it doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong, really. I mean, it can still get nasty, and I'm not really that confrontational. Ooh, boxing, punching, kicking. Osmond is nervous as fuck. In what sense? Because he knows what he's talking about, you know? He has his opinions on things. Some I agree with. Most I agree with. Some things I don't agree with. But that's the thing. I like listening to people I don't agree with. I like my views challenged. You know? But that's the thing. I'm a good listener. But I lose my coordination a lot when I get nervous, like a deer in headlights. And I'm worried about looking like an idiot on a debate stage, and I think most of us are like that, you know? Some of us think that, oh, we can do that, you know, like, you just gotta know what you're talking about. Well, no, not really. Not really, especially when you're dealing with someone who's, you know, doesn't really want to be challenged, you know, they want to control the whole conversation, the whole debate, you know, kind of like with Charlie Kirk, you know? He just spit facts. And then you'd have people trying to implement him in some crime, try to make him look bad, you know? Like that one girl who literally, she purposefully flashed him. She had her arms crossed like this, and she had a very low shirt already, and then she's just like really pressing it down, and her whole tata went boing. Like literally they had to blur it, and Charlie Kirk did not divert his gaze, his focus from her eyes once. He did not look anywhere but her eyes, because he's a good gentleman, and she tried to make him seem like a predator or something, you know? That's how these people view white men, You know, they think, oh, all white men bad, and I'm gonna prove to the world that that's the case, when in fact, sorry, sweetie. Sorry, you're not gonna get your way this time. You're not gonna, you know, make him look bad. You're making yourself look bad, ho. Faux show. Why am I breaking habits? Because I've quit a lot of bad habits. Granted, I have this bad habit now. I was a cigarette smoker, and I managed to quit that, and that's what's keeping me from getting back to cigarettes. But I was first of all, I was a heroin addict for 6 years, and I've been clean since February 28, 2023. And then I struggled with alcohol for a few years, not like 3 years maybe. And then I managed to stop doing that. That almost killed me. And yeah, I mean, it's called breaking habits because we're about, you know, making the best out of a situation we have now and striving for a better future by doing doing what we deem to be the right thing in this moment, rather than dwelling on our past. It's a chapter. It's a chapter, and we can learn from it. We can either learn from it, or we can fester and wallow in our own self-pity. You know, we have a choice. We absolutely have a choice. This is not an ancient Greek robe. It's actually a shirt. The question should be, why am I wearing pajama shorts with this dressy shirt? Because it's comfortable. It's hot. And I like this one. I don't know if I like this one better than the blue one I was wearing the other day. I have a blue one too. What dreams have you had since... Sorry, one sec. What dreams have you had since then you've come so far? Your head is obviously full of great understanding and growth, so what kind of help do you need to find a new adventurous life where you can live? I appreciate that very much, Silence. Oh goodness. If I could make a consistent income doing what I love, and now I don't have to, you know, like, I have good work ethic, and if I know how to do a job, if you know, it doesn't take long for me to learn how to do something, like, unless it's maybe computer related. Actually, it wouldn't take me very long to figure out OBS Studio if I had like a tutor next to me teaching me do this and that, the next step, you know. I'm having to figure it out all by myself, and it is difficult because I never really delved into computers and was always under the impression that I would just be bad at it by default, which is just not right, you know. I shouldn't tell myself that I'm bad at something before I've even really, you know, delved into it and really tried to figure it out, you know. Like my brother, the reason he's good at computers is because ever since he was a teenager and younger, he had friends with computers who would build computers, you know, and talk about computers. And I didn't have that kind of access as a kid. You know, I didn't have friends like that. You know, except that my friend's mom, she wrote books for building computers. Her mother, and it's funny because her dad was like a stay-at-home dad, and he was the creepy guy who'd be like, "Tell Tubby wake up time." He was a real creep. But her mom wrote books for building computers, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I had a feeling that like okay, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Why are you assuming that I do not hate anybody of any race? I think there are good and bad people on both sides. Either side, any side, there's good and bad people. You know? I don't hate Indians at all. In fact, I knew someone who was a really dear friend of mine, who was really one of the kindest people I met. Very kind to my friend Adrian. They just happened to be from India. Why are you saying that? No, I'm not vegan. I eat meat. I love meat. I love meat. The heck? Welcome to Thailand. Ooh, Thailand's such a beautiful place. I'd love to go to Thailand someday. Well, you got to remember everyone else is coming at it from learning as they lived. You are coming across things from the background where you see things from a broader picture, so you never know what's... You sound pretty sure about yourself, Glenn, bordering in... Okay. Oh, thank you, Donnell. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Just
What you doing?
live streaming.
Mom's home.
Yep. Yeah, good, good. How's she doing?
She's kind of upset.
Okay.
She's lucky that the boycott landed where it did.
Okay, good, good.
Johnny, Mom's home.
Knockety knock. Can I doogie? Do I like Mexico? Yeah. It's a beautiful place. There's good, you know, beautiful people there, you know? There's good and bad people anywhere, man. I mean, seems like Trump's the only president who's gonna crack down on the cartel, though, potentially, you know? I think something needs to happen to them, but, you know, I better zip it, 'cause gotta be careful when talking about that on the internet. I'm not gonna answer these fucking morons asking me if I've showered. Like, what a weirdo. You said how you feel quite eloquently. If others can't see the truth in your actions, then that's their problem. Yep. I agree. So guys, no, we're gonna keep doing this for a little bit longer, okay? But I'd like to go visit my mom. I just want to give her some time. I'm kind of nervous about that, to be honest. I think she needs some rest, man. I'd like some privacy, though. I'd like to close my door. They're not... Oh, they're not called that. They're called TERRORISTS. I didn't... If you're right about that, thanks for informing me, because I didn't know that. Did not know that. But yeah, they are. That's exactly how it should be. They are a terrorist organization. 100%. 100%. You know, it's like there was this period of time where Netflix was always trying to almost romanticize and glamorize, like, the CARTEL. Am I allowed to say, is that censored too, YouTube? And also, they were trying to glamorize and romanticize serial killers. They were, you know, you had like a whole... I mean, Dexter was good, right? But then they had this little boy, you know, they had this show about a little boy who was like a psychopath. It's like, what the fuck? Like, and it was just... So many of these shows came out, man. Whether they're good or bad or not, you know, I mean, maybe they just wanted to profit off of the success of Breaking Bad, you know? Because Breaking Bad was, I think it was ever since Breaking Bad came out, like, then we had Ozark, which was a really good show with Patrick no, it wasn't Patrick Bateman. Jason Bateman. No, not American Psycho. But Ozark is such a good show. And who's that actress with the really curly hair? She was like a pistol, you know, kind of. What was her name? That actress? She's so good. She's one of my favorite actresses now. She was definitely my favorite character in that show. She was that, she had the curly yellow hair and listened to rap music. I really liked her. Really love that character. One of my favorite shows of all time. Oh, and it has what's her name? She's from the Truman Show. She was the mom. She's the one who's like, try some of these. The cocoa beans. Or walk. How do you say that? No artificial sweeteners. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I've tried some of these. These are the best. Gosh, I forget her name. I'll look up Ozark. Julia Garner. I loved her. She's such a good actress. Julia Garner. And it's got Laura Linney. Yeah, she's the one from the Truman Show. Julia Garner's good, though. She's such a good actress. Like, she's 3 years younger than me. 32. Yeah, she's really good, man. Best. She's the best actress in that whole entire show, other than Laura Linney. Laura Linney did such a good job, especially that one scene. Okay, I don't want to ruin it for anyone. Okay, I won't tell you any spoilers, but there is this one scene where she's just like, it is so good. It is such a raw performance. It feels so real. Yeah, I mean, I would say those are the two best actors in that whole show. Laura Linney and Julia Garner are the best. Absolutely. Hands down. I'm not talking about Julia Roberts. I'm talking about Julia Garner. But yeah, Julia Roberts, I've heard that she's kind of a bitch. She's not very nice to her sister. Allegedly. Let me look it up. Why is Julia Roberts a bitch? Oh, yeah. Okay, I was right. Public perceptions of Julia Roberts as difficult stem largely from past on-set friction, most notably in the 1990 film Hook. Oh yeah, Steven Spielberg didn't like her. And tabloid coverage of her tumultuous relationship with her late half-sister. Oh my goodness, thank you very much. Thank you, Yamaha Motorcycle. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yamaha Motorcycle. During the filming of Hook in the 90s, Roberts reportedly struggled with personal issues and her workload, leading to rumors of diva behavior and the nickname Tinkerhell. Family Feud, that's the part that was kind of... Tabloids heavily covered her fractured relationship with her half-sister, Nancy Moats, before her tragic suicide in 2014. Moats publicly accuses Roberts of being cruel. Well, it goes way deeper than that. It goes so deep. Let me see. Julia Roberts and Nancy Moats. What did Julia Roberts do to Nancy Moats? And I remember reading this and thinking, whoa. Okay. Okay. Julia Roberts did not take any direct actions against her half-sister Nancy Moats. However, the two were estranged. Moats struggled with depression and drug addiction and tragically died by her own hand in February 2014. Following Moats' death, is SUISIDE censored? Anyway, her self-ending note surfaced, in which Moats heavily blamed Roberts and other family members for putting her into a deepest depression. Public tensions between them centered around several main issues. There was weight shaming. Months before her death, Moats gave a New York Daily News interview claiming the Pretty Woman star frequently teased and criticized her about her weight when she was younger. Oh yeah, she was constantly mogging her half-sister, Julia Roberts. She was constantly, you know, like, look at how much prettier I am than you, you know, all the time. Apparently, allegedly. Moats and her fiance claimed that Roberts actively tried to isolate Moats and withhold their ailing mother from her. That's the part that really got to me. Reading about that, yeah. She tried to isolate her sister, keep her away from her family, from her own family. And she apparently missed her mother's passing because of it, allegedly. Rehab interventions. Conversely, sources close to Roberts stated that the actress and their mother spent years attempting to get Moats into rehab for prescription drug addiction, which Moats allegedly refused. Following Moats' tragic passing, Roberts canceled various public appearances to grieve with her family and later described the loss as absolute heartbreak. Well, of course she wants to look good. I don't believe that. Okay, so according to The Sun in an interview, Julia Roberts intimidated Moats and deliberately kept her from spending time with their ailing mother, Betty Lou Moats, in their final years. Dilbeck stated, Julia always felt that Nancy had her time with their mother. Now it's her turn, as if she was a toy or animal. There should be no Betty and Nancy. Yeah. Weird. She seemed like a narcissist from what I read, like a class book, textbook narcissist right there. You know, trying to be in control of everyone. Yeah. Yeah, it gets dark. She's not a nice person, apparently. It's too bad. She's a good actress. Oh, thank you very much, Yamaha Motorcycle. Oh my goodness, thank you. Woof woof back. Thank you. Can I do a good dog impersonation? Yeah. No, that's not that good. Bark. You thought that was Shando? Nice. Yeah, Shando's a good boy. He loves his mothers. Anyway, guys, we're almost at 200 likes. Let's go. No Skyrim. You want Skyrim? It's getting a little bit late, guys. I mean, you really want me to play Skyrim? Maybe next time, okay? Next time. We'll plan that out for tomorrow. How about them apples? Because we are getting a little late. And, yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy that, though. Heaven knows I would love to, just kind of chill with video games on some of these live streams. But I've got OBS Studio figured out for the most part. Oh my goodness. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you, Sirkan Gursu. Thank you. I'm new here. What have I missed so far? Hi, Liam. My name is Anne, and I talk about recovery and addiction with y'all. We talk about how to change our habits for the better. Now, it can be any type of addiction, you know, it doesn't have to be hard drugs, you know, it can be food, it can be our phones, it can be hoarding, even, you know, it can be shopping, being a shopaholic. You know, a lot of us could do better with our money, right? Heaven knows. Um, it could be anything, you know. But with me, I have a lot of I have a propensity to be addicted to things, and I've got compulsions and anxieties, and I have a very addictive personality, unfortunately. And I became a heroin addict for 6 years, and I've been clean for 3.5 years. And I overcame alcohol, cigarettes, although I do vape now. And, you know, getting back into exercising and meditation. I walk a lot. I have my dog. I paint. I play video games. You know, I help my family out. I do this with y'all's, get commissions. If you ever want to join my Instagram or Discord or any of that, it's all pinned here in the chat. That's how I get commissions and do that type of business. Yep, we're all addicted to something. Exactly. And anyone can become an addict to hard substances given the circumstance or how done they are with life in general. You know, how fed up they are. You know. Thank you. Joe's downstairs. Okay. Yeah, I'll go down and visit in a minute. Pretty soon. How is she?
She seemed fine.
She seemed fine? Yeah. Just a little, I'm just gonna give it a little moment, cause, yeah, I just don't wanna, actually, it might be good if I go down there when Joe's down there. But yeah.
You don't want to face Joe.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's just,
Joe.
yeah. Yeah. Mom doesn't like me very much these days. So I just don't want to stress her out with my presence. So I'm going to wait a minute before I go down there.
Just don't be a spaz.
People are going to try poisoning, you know, she's going to try poisoning Dad against me and me against Dad, then I'm not, you know, going to engage with it. But since she was sick in the hospital, of course I'm going to go down there and see her. Just wait until things settle down a little bit. Because, yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to proceed with caution and be a little diplomatic about things. But, yeah, I was in the middle of this live stream. Yeah, so I'll be done soon. I'll be done soonish. Yep. Thank you, Liam. Thank you for subscribing, man. Thank you. I appreciate that, Stanley. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Ed. That's right. Yeah. I love your eyes. Thank you. Thank you, Evolue. Thank you, guys. Oh, we made it to 200. I'd so be rushing for the 200th like with even if I wasn't like a regular participant of a stream. I'll go down in the comments section if I see someone has like 99 likes. I'm like, oh, I'll be the 100th one. Can you see who's in here even if we don't make comments in the comments section? Actually, I can't. You have to make comments in order for me to see you. Hey, Lewis. Great job in getting clean. That is amazing. Thank you, Albert. Are you allowed here still? As far as I know, Mike, honestly, I don't remember all the... I mean, if you're a troll, I wouldn't even remember, like, what you said specifically, because I don't, like... I don't lose any sleep or, like... I don't even think about... I don't remember I don't remember the trolls. Yeah. Am I single? Maybe. You just, oh, that's nothing wrong with that, Mike. However, I, it doesn't do much good for my cause. I mean, I'm also, I lean conservative too. I lean conservative. Okay, I'm not like hard this, hard that, whatever. But, it doesn't do much good for our cause if, and I'm not saying you're doing this because I don't remember, but, it doesn't do much good for our cause when we go back and forth just calling names and fighting, or just, you know, trying to put the other person down. That's what they do. We should not succumb to their level. If people are gonna, you know, just start name calling because they don't approve of our opinion on something, you know, or they want to twist our words around. I don't like that. I don't like it when people twist our words, you know. People should be civil towards each other and respectful of other people's opinions. They don't have to necessarily, you know, believe our opinions or believe in our opinions, or you know, they might think we're full of shit, but you know, oftentimes with these people, they just start spewing out hateful names and rhetoric, and they don't have any logic or argument to, you know, or question to, you know, help us kind of build a actual debate or real discussion. You know, it's all, if we say something they don't like, such as, hey, I voted for Trump. Oh no, you're a pig, and you're this and you're that, and you know, I don't want to, what I'm saying is I don't want to mirror their behavior. I don't want to, you know, do what they do to us, you know. Thank you, Billy Bullard. Hi. How often do I stream? I do just about every day. Took a little break last night, but maybe it should have been today because my mom came home today, but yeah, I do it just about every day. And if I don't, I typically give you guys a heads up via Discord, or I should post, just make a post on YouTube. But if you want to join my Discord so I can give you an update if need be, it is pinned here in the comments. It's Emerald, like the gemstone, _ wing, like a butterfly's wing, _ 13473. Emerald _ wing _ 13473. New Jersey. Hi Jennifer. How are you doing? Cool. Well, I'm from England, so I'll try to pop in and chat, but of the 8 hours difference. Yeah, you know, I'm typically here in the evenings these days, and I think that's pretty good. I seem to get a pretty good audience, comparatively in the evening. I used to do it more, like I used to do a morning live stream, and then I take a break, and then I do an evening live stream or an afternoon live stream. But yeah, I'll more than likely be here at like around this time, between 6 and, I would say on average I'm here between 6 p.m. and 10, 6 and 10, or 6 and 9 actually. Man, people can be so nasty, can't they now? Gosh, did you hear about that shooting that went down? Oh, thank you very much, man. Oh my goodness, thank you. No matter about addictions, for instance, I hate drugs, gambling, but I love Cuba cigar and Scotch whiskey. Anyhow, the things you handle, I suppose that's not bad. Yeah, we all have our vices, man, and if it's causing you harm and causing friction in your family or pain, you know, if it's taking over your life and making other people around you miserable, then it is a good thing to, try to quit. But, just having a little vice, like me wanting my 2 cups of coffee, there's nothing wrong with that. It's even good for your liver, or smoking a little weed before bed. It's not good if I wake and bake and do it all day so I'm not motivated for anything and never get anything done. Like, that sucks, and then I get depressed. But if I get everything done in my day, then I don't feel bad about smoking weed at all, I feel actually like I deserve it, like I've earned it. So, I, yeah, it helps to be in control of yourself and the things you want to do, I don't want to be controlled by the drug. I don't want to be governed by the drug. I'd be in control of it, but it's a slippery slope with many of it, with like alcohol and stuff like that for me. Yeah. Maybe people should be more understanding. Maybe they're the problem. Thought about that. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We need to take accountability. We're not always responsible for, it's not always our fault when bad things happen to us in our lives, but it's up to us, and we have a choice how we want to proceed from this moment onward, and we need to take accountability for our responses. We're responsible for how we respond to things in life, and I know that it's easier said than done. We all have different personalities, and I have a propensity to be a little sensitive, but that's the thing. We with our experiences and introspection and all that, we become stronger and wiser, and it gets better with age. It gets, you start to understand your limits and, what things need to be worked on, what things don't, what things should be accepted and which things shouldn't be accepted and need changing, That's the good thing about getting old. Oh, thank you, Nick. I look like a Greek goddess. Well, thank you, Noah. Everything in moderation, just about. Just about. Some things shouldn't be touched, though. Some things are too dangerous. Like the heroin. Or flakka. Like, there are some things that's just not a good idea at all. You haven't seen Kilroy in a while? Me neither, Lewis. Hey, your favorite girl, Lacey. Thank you for joining. Where in the world am I from, Liam? I'm from the Pacific Northwest. Thank you, Albert. Thank you. Thank you, Billy. Yeah, they are ruining our country. I agree, Mike. I agree. Especially places like, New York, where they want to turn us into Cuba, Look at LA and what Gavin Newsom has done to that state. He's totally fucked it up. 25% of the homeless population are in California. You know that? That's mind-blowing. I'm curious to see what percentage, because there are so many homeless people in Portland, Oregon. Let's check and see what percentage of the homeless population is in Oregon. How much of the homeless population's in Oregon? Because I'm curious, if 25%'s in LA, or California, that's pretty freaking bad, man. Multnomah County estimates nearly 18,000 people are currently experiencing homelessness in the area, with about 8,800 considered unsheltered, living on the streets or in vehicles. Most of them have mental health and drug addictions. At the regional level, the federally mandated Tri-County Point-in-Time PIT count recorded 12,034 individuals experiencing homelessness across Multnomah, Washington, and Clackamas counties. Of this regional population, about 48% remain entirely unsheltered. Well, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to see, like, what state is number one in homelessness? Obviously, California. Yep, California. Yep. California holds the number one spot for the largest absolute homeless population in the U.S., with roughly 187,084 unhoused individuals. However, when measured per capita, Hawaii has the highest rate of homelessness in the nation. Oh, okay. With 805 unhoused people per 100,000 residents. That's crazy. Okay, what percentage? Oh. Okay, they're not telling me. Let's see. States with the most homeless by percentage. Okay. Are you gonna tell me the stats? Oh wow, Portland's not even in a. California has the. That's surprising, because we do have a really bad homeless issue. In fact, when people go to Portland, that's the first thing they notice. Oh my goodness, thank you very much, guys. Good evening, good evening. Yeah, Bob Ferguson, yeah. I had to subscribe. You think too logically. Oklahoma would welcome you anytime. Thank you, Stanley. That's really kind of you to say. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Thank you, Sir Gursu. Appreciate that, man. Eugene, Oregon has the highest homeless per capita in the United States. From what I looked up, it was Hawaii, actually. I don't think Portland would have more homeless than Eugene. I don't know about that, Chief. I'm not sure about that. California has the highest homeless population in the U.S. with approximately 187,084 unhoused individuals, accounting for roughly 1/4 of the national total. 1/4. Following California, the states with the largest total homeless population are New York, 158,019. Wow. And Washington. So it's California, then New York, then Washington with 31,554. A state-by-state breakdown of the top unhoused populations according to Department of Housing and Urban Development data. California is number one, then New York, then Washington, then Florida, then Massachusetts. So California's got 187,084. New York has 158,019. Washington has 31,554. Florida has 31,362. And Massachusetts has 29,360. I'm so surprised that Portland's not there. Or like Albuquerque, you know? Oh my goodness. Thank you, Sir Kangaroos. I appreciate it. North Pacific reminds me of Seattle. Anyhow, I love your conversation. Hope to join again. I appreciate you very much. Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate your support, dude. Thank you. Appreciate all of you guys, all of your engagement, and I'm very happy and glad that you enjoy my channel. Can I do this to make you feel better? You mean like the emoji face? Like this? I can do some funny faces. Watch this. Oh yeah, back crack. Back crack. Back crack. Okay. Let's guys, should we do some Bible readings now? Cuz it would behoove me to go visit my mom. So we're going to read some Bible verses. That's what we do at the very end of the stream. Typically so. For the new joiners of this channel, typically we talk about recovery and addiction. Sometimes I just go right in, play some video games. Sometimes we just, talk about painting, but we talk about all kinds of things because we're more than our addictions, right? But we talk about addiction and changing our habits and, what we can do now to live a better life. And then at the end of the stream, which can be random. That's why I changed my name to Tangent T. We read the Bible. We talk about the Bible, or read the Bible, and then we end the live stream. But if I'm gonna do this, I sure would love to be able to find my glasses. Can't find my glasses anywhere, man. Where did I put those? Thank you, guys. Look for my glasses here. Sure I can find them. Ha 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 ha. I'm telling you to loosen up my buttons, babe. But you keep fronting me, saying what you will do to me. And I said nothing, telling you to loosen up my buttons, babe. Where's my glasses, man? I can't find them anywhere. I had 2 pairs. That wasn't meant to rhyme. Okay, let's see. I should just clean my room and get them next time, It's too bad, though. I can't find them anywhere. It's funny. I should have 2 pairs of glasses. I can't find them anywhere. Sucks. It sucks ass. I wonder if it fell over here, like in my drawer or something. That's what happens when I don't have room for things. But yeah, next time we'll get those glasses. I don't think I'm gonna find them right now at this very moment. Usually it would be over here, but I'm not finding it. Or it would be, with my lens wipes or something, but it's not in there this time. That's weird. Okay, well, let's read some Bible verses regardless. And do that regardless, guys. And I'll clean my room when I'm done, or go see my mom, and then I'll clean my room and make it more organized in here for what it's worth. Okay. Okay, so let's read some Bible verses, guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It would be amazing if we could make it to 300, but we're probably not going to make it there to 300 this time. Okay, so you're psyched for Bible reading? Excellent, excellent. I wish I had my glasses, though. I'll find them. It's okay. It's okay. I just started having to use reading glasses, so it's probably not... I can get through it. It's just I'll have to squint a little bit, maybe. I do have a magnifying glass actually somewhere. Let's see. Here it is. I have a little tiny magnifying glass. Yeah, I just gotta clean it a little bit with some lens wipes. Okay, friends. Hello. What? If the lips are sighing, give me a wink. I don't know what you mean, man. Okay. All right, let's read the Bible. We're gonna read a random verse first of all. Oh, are those my glasses? I found one of my pairs of glasses. Sweet. Found them in my drawer.
Do you like the scene in The Mummy when the guy loses his glasses?
Yeah, I do. That part scared me when I was a kid. Actually, the scariest part from The Mummy when I was little was the scarabs and that fat guy.
Oh,
And then I remember right after watching that, Mom made some tomato soup, and I couldn't eat it because I was afraid there'd be scarabs in my soup.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, the scarabs scared me.
What a pussy.
I know. I was scared of
I
scarabs.
thought the scene with the guy with the glasses was funny.
Yeah. I don't know. I was like 8 years old when that came out.
That was negative something when that came out.
I remember seeing it for the first time in the garage with Matt. He had had a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies too. He had that one movie about the clones. I forget what it was called with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It had these like holographic peoples and clones. I don't know, it was like about clones or something. Let me look that up. Forget what it was called because I haven't seen it in so long.
Total Recall.
Total, no. It didn't have like Jamie Lee Curtis in it or
That
anything.
wasn't.
Okay, that was a
I've
different
never
one.
seen Total Recall.
Okay.
I think it's about Arnold Schwarzenegger having complete memory or something.
Having what?
Complete memory.
Oh, maybe that's the one then. Maybe that's the one. Let me see. Let me look up his movies. We used to watch that movie again and again. It's called, I don't think it was called Total Recall. It was called, oh, The Sixth Day. It was called The Sixth Day. Came out in 2000.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we watched that over and over again. It's a good movie. You would like it. I mean, it's fun.
Have you seen the Terminator movies?
Yeah.
And
One.
are you still doing?
I'm almost done.
Okay,
Yeah.
keep us one down, see
Ye-
your mom.
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
crying.
yeah, I will. Okay, guys, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'll read one more Bible verse or one Bible verse and I'll say goodbye. Okay, I'm gonna be right there.
Okay.
Okay, just one, guys, just one. So then let us not sleep. Okay, this is Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 6, all the way down to 10. So then let us not sleep as others do, but let us keep awake and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. But since we belong to the day, let us be sober and put on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet the hope of salvation. For God has not destined us for wrath, but to obtain salvation through our Lord Jesus Christ. Okay, guys, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I didn't know it was this serious. Okay. Take care. I'll see you later.